YouTube? It is I, your unfriendly neighborhood Skeletor. And today, I, Skeletor, am going to react to another top 10, well, this one's a top 5 list, by Laura Legends. Now, normally I don't like to repeat other YouTube channels, but I really wanted to do this one because I found the topic fascinating. I am going to react to the top 5 power swords of the 80s. A topic that I am actually really interested in. I want to know which is the best one, because that's the one I'm going to probably try to steal. In order to conquer Castle Grayskull. And like the other top list, I am going to simultaneously do my own top 5 list of the best power swords. And I'm basing my list on how cool it looks. Number 1, because come on, we all have to know you gotta look cool when holding a sword. And number 2, how much it will help in my mission to conquer Castle Grayskull. So that's what I'm basing my list on. But let's see what Laura Legends is basing her top 5 list on. And also, she's got a really good channel if you're interested in anything 80s, toys, cartoons, top 5 lists and whatnot. Do as I, Skeletor, come in. And go onto her channel and give her a subscribe. Anyway, without further ado, let's watch this thing, shall we?
Omens, come to my hand. Why I can't? Jeez, it's heavy.
This top 5 list is starting off with a bang. I didn't know the Sword of Omens was capable of such evil. I, Skeletor, approve.
Wait, there's blood on it. Obviously, someone doesn't know how to respect my nice things.
Nah, Robot Chicken, you sure do know how to torture our heroes. But in a good way. FYI, for those people who are like, why don't you react to more Robot Chicken? Well, because Robot Chicken blocked me. Didn't actually give me a copyright claim, they blocked me altogether. And I said, how dare you block Skeletor, you ridiculous boobs? You could have given me a claim, but no, you blocked me altogether. So if you want to complain about that, complain to them. To date, they're the only ones to actually block my video. Anyway, let's continue with this.
Hello everybody, and welcome back.
Her theme has a catchy beat you can dubstep to. Wah, 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 wah. You can do the Skeletor dubstep shuffle with that. Wah, 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 wah.
Hello everybody, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video...
Alright, let's see this. I'm not sure that this is any basis on what her actual top 5 list is going to be, but if it is, let's see. We've already got He-Man's power sword there. We've got, obviously, Lion-O's sword, the Sword of Omens. This sword back here, this looks like Snake Eyes' sword. We got, I believe this is the sword from Zelda, Link's sword. And I think this is Thunder, the Barbarian sword. Interesting choices. If this is the one, her list could be completely different. But let's continue.
We're going to take a look at 5 swords of power from the 80s, where at the end I'm going to get you to comment down below on which sword you choose. So here we go. Number 5, the Sun Sword from the 1980 cartoon Thunder the Barbarian.
Thunder the Barbarian! A poor man's version of He-Man. And Conan, of course. Look at him, he looks exactly like He-Man. Right down to the ridiculous bowl haircut. I'm pretty sure Thunder predates He-Man, so I'm pretty sure He-Man ripped him off. But then again, it was the 80s, they were all ripping each other off left and right. Look at this Beast Man, Evelyn.
Thunder, the Barbarian.
This animated series, spanning 21 episodes, takes...
I don't remember much about this cartoon, but I will say, doesn't this girl remind you of what would happen if Betty Rubble became a barbarian? She left Barney Rubble to become a barbarian. Nice! I always said she had potential. It's good to see her move up in the world.
Takes place in a future post-apocalyptic wasteland divided into territories.
Everything's a future post-apocalyptic wasteland. That's why I like the Jetsons. The only time they actually thought of the future and said, hey, maybe good things will happen. Everyone else is just future post-apocalyptic nonsense. I mean, really, are we living in a post-apocalyptic... don't answer that.
The majority which are ruled by wizards. The Earth is now reborn as a world of savagery, super science, and wizardry.
Super science! Not just science, everyone! That's just so passé! It's super science! Science that goes beyond the pale of science. More like pseudoscience to me. Or super pseudoscience.
The passage of a runaway planet between the Earth and the Moon, causing radical changes in the Earth's climate and geography.
One man.
Well, all they needed to do to fix that problem was, you know, get rid of plastic bags, change the straws to paper straws. You know, get rid of the combustion engine and replace it with nothing but electric cars that will eventually run our power grids to the ground and then tax everyone to death. Don't you know that that's how you fix the situation?
First his bonds to fight for justice, and his fabulous sun sword.
We see this muscular beefcake Thundar the Barbarian traveling the world with his companions, battling evil
Muscular beefcake, eh? I'm starting to think that Laura Legends has a type. Let's see here. Looks like Skeletor, I'm gonna have to work out.
wizards and foes. Thundar's weapon, the Sun Sword, is a very cool looking sword with a blade-like beam of energy that can project when activated. When deactivated, it's great for traveling and can fit in your pocket as only the hilt. Or you can do what Thundar does.
It looks like a very easy sword to lose. It's really teeny tiny like that. Like, where did I put that sword? I think I dropped it. It was in my wristband. I dropped it a few miles back. I'm gonna have to turn back and get it.
And wear it like a bracelet. The energy blade can deflect other energy attacks as well as magical ones, and it has the ability to cut through nearly anything. Kinda sounds like a lightsaber. The Sun Sword is
Yes, it does. Little too much like a lightsaber.
magically linked to Thundar, and only he has the ability to use it, but this link has the potential to be disrupted. When power is drained from the Sun Sword, it needs to be recharged at the pool of power, and whoever
The pool of power. I wonder if I jumped into the pool of power if it'd give me all the power. If you've ever watched this cartoon, let Skeletor know. What happens if you jump into this pool of power?
charges the Sun Sword commands the sword.
Alright, now for Skeletor's Mambo number 5. For me, I disqualified the Thunder Sword right away because, yes, it's far too similar to the lightsaber of Star Wars. If I was gonna pick one, I'd pick the lightsaber. And since this lightsaber is a 70s sword, it does not belong in this list. But anyway, for my number 5, I select Voltron's Blazing Sword. First of all, look at how aesthetically amazing this sword is. Although a little big, but he can handle it. He's a big guy. He materializes it with energy.
Form Blazing Sword!
But why I have this on my top 5 list is just how important the sword is to Voltron, because it seems to always have a hard time defeating the villains without calling upon this sword. It's almost like, why don't you start with that sword? Why do you always hold it like an ace in your pocket? It's like Voltron likes to tease his prey before he kills it. He's like, just call upon the sword first thing. Save everybody a bunch of time. They're like, how much time left in the runtime of the show? We still got 20 minutes? Alright, don't call upon the sword into the last, 50 seconds. That's how efficient the sword is. But the reason why it's also on number 5 on my list and not higher is because, let's be honest, it really seems to only do one thing. It slices through everything. Doesn't seem to give Voltron any extra boost of energy or power. What it does do, it does quite well. And I also just like to say, Skeletor, 4 Blazing Sword! That in and of itself is worth to be number 5 on the list. But let's keep going, shall we?
Number 4. The Sword of Power from the 1983 cartoon He-Man and the Masters of the Universe.
What? Number 4 on the list is He-Man's sword? Nah, way too low. I'm insulted. Why do these top 5 list makers always let me down? They don't give He-Man proper respect. Nah, but let's hear our reasons anyway.
Look at that swell back scratcher someone lost.
That's no back scratcher, Ram-Man. You ridiculous moron. Besides, I don't even think you have a back, or a neck for that matter. You're nothing but legs and head. So what are you gonna scratch? Maybe your ass. That's about it.
That's no back scratcher. It's He-Man's sword.
Spanning 130 episodes and based on a line of toys and a comic series, He-Man is the brave superhuman alter ego of Prince Adam of Eternia, protecting the secrets of Castle Grayskull from the evil forces of Skeletor.
That's right, baby. And never forget that.
Sword is referred to as the Power Sword or the Sword of Grayskull. In the mini-comics, Skeletor's goal is to acquire the other half of the Sword of Power hidden inside Castle Grayskull to obtain the sword's total power to open a hole in a dimensional wall to bring reinforcements from Skeletor's dimension of origin and conquer Eternia.
Now say that 5 times fast, jeez. Take a breath. Tell me, Laura, did you try out for the Micro Machines commercials? If not, well, you should. And yes, they had that in the toy line, but abandoned that premise for the Filmation series. I'm not sure which one I like better, however. One version has me actually having a piece of the sword. The other one does not.
By the Sorceress, the Sword of Power has the ability to transform Prince Adam into He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe, as well as transforming his pet tiger Cringer into the fearless Battle Cat by saying the words,
By the power of Grayskull.
That blows my mind. Every time he yells, I have the power, it echoes throughout the land with a giant light show. And all he ever did was hide behind the bush or something. Where did Adam go? I think he's behind the bush. What's that laser light show and he's yelling, I have the power? And then out comes He-Man. Hey, everyone, with still bushes and twigs in his hair. Where did Adam go? I think he went to go pee. Well, it's a lucky thing you just happened to be peeing at the same bush as Adam.
Apart from turning you into a super strong stud muffin, He-Man's sword has the ability to...
I'm telling you, Laura Legends is really showing her type here. She likes the blonde, bowl-cut, beefy type. What's the matter, Laura? You have no interest in the beefcake, bony type?
to deflect magical attacks, heal in some instances, and in the new adventures of He-Man, we can see the sword firing bolts of glowing energy. In the 1987 live-action film, during the final battle scene, we see He-Man shout... Already in the
Nah, don't use that bloody movie for anything He-Man related. It was a disaster of a film and they barely used the sword at all. I don't know why she's using the film to describe the sword as if any of this is actually canon.
He-Man form, and blue electricity courses through him, possibly healing or giving him a boost of energy.
Now, my number 4 sword is the Star Sword from Black Star. Now, this, of course, isn't the Star Sword. It's the Power Star Sword, which is its complete form when you combine the evil version with the good version, which is another He-Man-esque ripoff. Again, I'm not sure which one came first. I'd have to check that one out. Yet another barbarian with another sword. Now, this power sword is pretty much similar to He-Man's sword. It reflects energy beams and shoots out energy beams. But it also gives Black Star enhanced strength and power, much like He-Man's sword. Now, the reason why it's not number 1 on my list is mainly because, while it does make him stronger, it doesn't make him the most powerful man in the universe. And since it doesn't do that, what is being just slightly stronger going to do when you can actually handle the power of the universe? One thing I always found funny about this Black Star toy versus the He-Man toy is they at least gave Black Star real nipples. Hey, you look like me, except for you've got real nipples. That's right, He-Man. Stare in awe at my mighty nipple chest. Damn you animators, why didn't you give me real nipples? That's a good question. Why didn't you give He-Man real nipples? Because he's not a real boy, that's why. And let's be honest, the Power Sword does look pretty cool, does it not? It looks like an actual star, which is to me pretty cool. Although I will say, it seems kind of awkward to hold. I could see you impaling yourself with the edges. Black Star's actual demise is him impaling himself accidentally when he fell on his sword. One of the fatal flaws with that sword, and another reason why it's only number 4 on my list. Anyway, let's continue, shall we?
Number 3. The Sword of Protection from the 1985 cartoon She-Ra, Princess of Power. Running for a total of...
Now, of course he'd put that sword above He-Man. That sword is a Mary Sue sword. It does pretty much anything. It does everything He-Man's sword does, but a whole bunch of extra crap.
93 episodes, She-Ra is the alter ego of Princess Adora and twin sister to Prince Adam / He-Man. Like He-Man's Sword of Power, She-Ra's Sword of Protection grants Princess Adora the ability to transform into her superhuman alter ego, She-Ra, and her horse Spirit into the mighty Swiftwind.
For the honor of Grayskull, I am She-Ra!
Her sword is virtually identical in appearance to He-Man's, save for it being a little more slender with a jewel embedded in the hilt.
It's like He-Man's sword, but blinged up.
If the stone is damaged in any way, Adora will lose her ability to transform into She-Ra.
For the honor of Grayskull!
I forgot how ridiculous Adora's voice is. She sounds like a teenage boy going through puberty. For the honor of...
What's wrong? I'm not changing. Without this stone, my sword has no power. I can't become She-Ra.
In addition to...
Well, you see, there in and of itself makes it less reliable than He-Man's sword. Because their He-Man's sword doesn't have a blingy middle, therefore you can't crack it as easily. And if that jewel gets destroyed, well, now you gotta go look for a new jewel. Not very reliable.
Transforming herself, deflecting attacks, and cutting through most materials, the sword also has the ability to change its shape, something the Sword of Power cannot do.
Well, we don't know that. Let's be honest. We don't know that the Sword of Power can't do that. For all we know, it can, but Adam just didn't have She-Ra's imagination. Adam was just like, brute force is all I need. She-Ra's like, nah, you can use a little finesse once in a while. But then again, maybe not. I just don't know.
Sword to pole!
Sword to pole? Sounds like a ridiculous exchange. What is She-Ra gonna do with that pole, I wonder? Was she planning on dancing? The She-Ra Sword of Protection also can be used as a stripper dance pole. Wonderful.
Pole to sword!
Alright, now for my number 3. This one was a hard one for me. To me, it is the coolest sword there is, but unfortunately, it has to be number 3. And that is the Sword of Omens. Now, I like the Sword of Omens. When it comes to the design of a sword, I actually prefer the Sword of Omens to most other swords. Got the thundercats symbol in the middle, and when you activate it, you have to actually say a really cool incantation like thunder, thunder, thundercats, ho! That to me is, in and of itself, is cool enough to be really high on my list. But the reason why it's not so high is because it really doesn't enhance Lion-O's strength or ability, does it? It's used primarily to summon other thundercats. Yes, it can shoot energy beams, but so can a gun. And yes, you can summon it and call it to come to your hand, which is again a pretty neat trick. The one redeeming factor of this sword, this alone almost made me put it to number 1, was that the sword gives Lion-O the ability to see Cheetara naked. That's right. My favorite girl.
Sword of Omens. I want to see Cheetara naked. Give me sight beyond sight.
Its pervy abilities are unmatched.
Hey, Cheetara, why don't you turn around?
What for, Lion-O?
Just do as I say. Ah, nice.
For those of you yelling, Skeletor, you chauvinist pig, I'd just like to remind you all that call me all the names you want. I don't care, because I'm evil.
You certainly know how to rub people the wrong way, stranger.
Number 2, the Star Sword from the 1981 cartoon Black Star.
I am John Blackstar.
She has Black Star over He-Man? Why? Nah.
John Blackstar was an astronaut stranded on the planet Sagar after traveling through a black
Planet Sagar, not to be confused with Planet Cigar.
hole, taking him to an ancient alien universe. Trapped on Sagar, Blackstar is rescued by the tiny Trobbit people and in turn joins their fight
And becomes Snow White. Hi-ho. Hi-ho.
for freedom against the cruel overlord who rules with his sword, the Power Star. The Power Star is then split into 2 swords, the Power Sword and the Star Sword, which Blackstar now wields. The Star Sword is capable of absorbing, storing, and reflecting any external energy and is considered virtually indestructible. It can emit black
Virtually indestructible, but not exactly indestructible. It's I can't believe it's not indestructible.
blasts of pure energy to destroy a target and generates an invisible aura. This aura can grant Blackstar with superhuman senses like strength, speed, agility, and a limited invulnerability to harm and protection from extreme temperatures. Not
Yes, but does it make him the most powerful man in the universe? No! It's all wonderful tricks, some of which my own Havoc staff can do, which is why it's not number 1 on my list.
a huge fan on the design of this sword because I feel like I would definitely find a way to impale myself without
The exact same thing. It's true. Another reason why it's not high on my list. Too many self-inflicted wounds.
protruding.
All right, very interesting. You know, I did think about putting Blackstar's sword a little higher because it did more things than He-Man's sword. However, I just could not get past the self-impalement aspect of it and the fact that it does not transform him into the most powerful being, which, of course, my next 2 swords do. And number 2, it's She-Ra's sword. Oops. Sorry. Nah. Please don't Me Too me. That was completely accidental. You saw that, right? It was an accident. I did not mean to lift her dress. Whatever you do, Twitter, don't cancel Skeletor. This was a complete misunderstanding. Well, it was a real toss-up for me which one I was going to put one above the other. At first, I did put She-Ra's sword above He-Man's because it could do multiple different things and still make her powerful. But as was presented before, it has an actual pretty large weakness in the fact that it could be damaged quite easily when you damage its bling.
Without this stone, my sword has no power.
So that's the reason why it's only number 2. That's right, She-Ra. You're a number 2. Deal with that. And you're a number 2 when it comes to Cheetara as well. Although I wouldn't mind being in a part of a love triangle between these 2. He's mine. No, girl, don't fight over Skeletor. All right, let's continue. I'm pretty sure I know what Laura Legend's number 1 is.
And number 1. The Sword of Omen.
Of course, it's the Sword of Omens. She picks the beefiest beefcake there is for number 1. I don't think she's picking a sword. I think she's picking the guy that wields it. Lion-O in his fabulous mane and his ruggedly handsome good looks. Of course he was going to pick Lion-O all along. Be honest, Laura. You picked Lion-O over He-Man because of his looks. Not that I'm judging, because I would do the same with Cheetara. But I'm just saying.
It's from the 1985 series Thundercats. Thundercats was an animated series running for a total of 130 episodes. We follow a group of cat-like aliens forced to leave their home and make their way to a planet called Third Earth.
Hold on, let me watch that again.
Group of cat-like aliens.
I just want to see Cheetara again. woman. Look at her.
Aliens forced to leave their home and
How beautiful is Chitara?
make their way to a third Earth, where they become known as the Thundercats, battling an evil undead sorcerer named Mum-Ra. The Sword of Omens is known as the legendary Sword of the Thundercats and wielded by the Thundercats' Lord, Lionel. The sword's power stems from the Eye of Thundera embedded in its hilt, a sentient, powerful stone taking the form of a black cat's head when awake and a cat.
Now, she just glossed over a really important detail, and that's the fact that one of the reasons why I didn't put it number one is because it is sentient. And as we've seen in one of the episodes, if you stab it in its eye, which the sword Excalibur did, it practically killed the sword. Again, much like She-Ra's sword, the center of the sword is a pretty big weakness, and one an evil villain like myself could exploit.
Its eye when asleep. The sword has the ability to extend as a broadsword or retract to a dagger. The blade is said to be nearly indestructible and razor sharp with the ability to cut through steel
Nearly indestructible, but not indestructible, like I said before.
and stone, and can shoot out blasts of energy, stunning, electrocuting, melting, and blasting through materials. When in danger, the wielder of the sword can summon the other Thundercats by shooting the symbol of the Eye of Thundera into the sky by shouting,
Thunder! 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 Thundercats!
I do have to say that is probably the coolest power cry in all of animation.
Thunder! Thunder! Thundercats! Ho!
Upon making eye contact with the signal, it gives the Thundercats a boost of energy.
Lion-O's in trouble.
The eye itself has other abilities, like being able to blast
Well, it does give them a boost of energy, but it does make them much more powerful than they were originally.
through the full thickness of a planet, emitting energy blasts, healing, dispelling spells, and it can also warn of danger by growling. Okay, let's see what else it can do. It can generate force fields, create heat and flames, it can freeze targets in ice, manipulate energy to create things like bridges, and it can even grant the wielder the ability to fly or transport. Like seriously, the sword can make you a milkshake, vacuum your house, and walk your dog.
So can my cell phone, so what?
Transport me to the great beneath. Take me to Mum-Ra.
And it can also give you sight over great distances.
Sword of Omens, give me sight beyond sight.
And if
Once again, my favorite part. Did you call me Lion-O?
Yes, Chitara, I did. I can't remember, however, what I wanted.
Oh, Lion-O, behave, will you?
Shut up, Snarf.
if you lose your sword, no matter how far away you are, you can just call it.
Sword of Omens, come to my hand.
If the Eye of Thundera is covered, the sword is completely disabled. And finally, if the sword is
Again, another big weakness, you see? Well, all these fancy things that they could do, the She-Ra sword, the Sword of Omens, while really impressive and powerful swords, for me, their weaknesses undo their power. Whereas He-Man's sword doesn't seem to have any of these particular weaknesses.
to attack a fellow Thundercat, it initiates the Curse of Balthas, breaking the sword and causing it to lose its power.
It looks good as new.
And must be reforged in Starfire. So there you have it, guys. Choose your sword of power.
See what I mean? Fragile. And then you gotta go to like some mountain somewhere to get it reforged. It's not like you can just go to repair it at a normal place. But anyway, now for my number one. And of course, it should come as no surprise that my number one is, of course, He-Man's power sword. Now I know a lot of you are like, why? It just does one thing. I mean, well, yes, it does reflect energy beams, and it can shoot an energy beam out. Maybe it can't transform into a lasso or a pipe or some dancing pole. It does one thing that it needs to do, which is transforming a little boy into the most powerful man in the universe.
And I became He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe.
Making him nearly indestructible, super fast, super strong, super hearing, and the fact that there is no noticeable weaknesses in the sword. Doesn't seem particularly easy to break or no weak spots in it, which again makes it more durable than the others. If he needs a lasso, he'll carry one. If he needs an ice ray, he'll just carry an ice ray with him. That's why he has men-at-arms. But what the other swords don't do is transform their owner into the most powerful man in the universe. And that, to me, is the reason for why it's number one. While the others have a lot more gimmicks, it does not do that one thing well enough. And if I'm going to conquer Castle Grayskull, I don't need gimmicks. I need results and power. And this sword does that without any glaring weaknesses. And if there is one weakness in this sword, I'd say that it doesn't give me sight beyond sight.
Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. I come with new videos every Wednesday and Saturday, unless if I get invited for Chinese food. So thank you guys so much for watching, and stay legendary.
So So, there you have it. Mine didn't really differ too much from Laura Legends, aside from maybe Voltron's. But I asked, what do you all think? What's your favorite power sword? And what is your favorite power of these power swords? Is it like mine? The power of sight beyond sight? The perviest power there is. Anyway, don't forget to go to Laura Legends' channel, give her a like and subscribe, and tell her that Skeletor sent you. And of course, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to my channel as well. Anyway,